What is up, guys? It's your boy, and we're back. I got a kind of a little bit different video for you today. Actually, it's a lot different. To be honest, it's literally nothing like the last video I did. I decided to take it upon myself to scour the internet and find the dumbest shit politicians I've ever said. I'm gonna call this segment. I'm gonna call this segment politically incorrect, and I just feel like it's appropriate. Because we live in a world where if you don't say something politically correct to the T, you get shat on by someone. So I'm just here to remind you guys that even the elite say the dumb shit. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Our first one comes to us from Dan Quayle. If you don't know who Dan Quayle is, don't feel bad, because he was a vice president, and literally no one cares about vice presidents. But he was the vice president during George H.W. Bush's administration, and he said, and I quote, "The Holocaust was an obscene period in our nation's history. I mean in this century's history. But we all lived in this century. I didn't live in this century." Well, Dan, yes, the fuck you did. So actually, I'd like to start before the entire quote goes to hell, where he says obscene. I feel like a lot of words describe the Holocaust, and obscene is not quite one of them. Obscene is like a lime green Lamborghini in Wisconsin in the middle of the winter. That's something you look at and you're like, wow, that's obscene. Like that. That's obscene. The Holocaust was more like atrocious, like atrocity, war crime, abhorrent, words like that, words with a little more gravitas, you know what I mean? But I'll give him a pass on that, because the rest of this quote is a tragedy. So he starts by saying, in our nation's history. It was not in our nation at all. The Holocaust did not occur in the United States of America. He could have said in our world history. He could have said in history. He could have just stopped it at that and won. But he said our nation's history. And then after that, I think it was just a snowball effect of him trying to backtrack. I mean, in this century's history. But we all lived in this century. I didn't live in this century. And as I said before, by that point, little Dan, he's just a bit confused, and we all gotta just feel for him. Next, we have a quote from Representative Hank Johnson, a Democrat out of Georgia. And if you didn't know who, Dan Quayle was, you sure as shit won't know who Hank Johnson was.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
Hank said, "My fear is the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize." Excuse me. A little background for you guys, because you're obviously confused like I was the first time I read this. He was making a statement in respect to the island of...
Alright, let's go to terrorize and look for the head of the pit.
Island... to the island of Guam, which was being occupied by American soldiers, and there were a large number. So essentially, what my boy Hank thought was that if this is Guam, then this is just water. Hank truly believed that islands were just kind of nature's boat. Hank thought that the island of Guam was kind of Mother Nature's Titanic, and were there enough American soldiers on it, it would just kind of teeter over and eventually capsize, which is absolutely incorrect.
Wrong. That is absolutely wrong. Proved over and over again. Wrong. He actually had...
So I'm not giving you any passes on that, Hank. You done messed up. Next, but certainly not least, we have a quote from George W. Bush. There's an old saying in Tennessee. I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee. So right off the bat, Georgie's kind of confused. But we're gonna see it. We're gonna see if he can just stick it out. That says, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again." Now, George, let me just stop you right before it starts. It's "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." I didn't even have to think about that. That's like the oldest quote in the book. I'm pretty sure Jesus said that. So there's no excuse for this. I kind of get where you're going. No, actually, I understand none of that. So we're just gonna go on to the next one. And in a fitting fashion, just as we started, we will end with Dan Quayle, who I guarantee will be seeing in this series many moons from now. And he said, "I love California. I practically grew up in Phoenix."
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Dan the man! Come on! Phoenix is in Arizona. Arizona is here. California is here. But certainly Phoenix is not in California. Okay? California's like kind of this mythical island that's somehow attached to America. It's like ocean and palms and tropics, women in bikini and dudes with six packs. And Phoenix is like when you microwave something for too long. It gets kind of crispy and kind of unwanted. It's like 130 degrees every day. They have no good professional sports teams. And there's like 30 species of everything that can kill you. So unless you're like born there, which is another thing. He said, I practically grew up in, like, what does that mean? The point is, unless you were born and raised in Phoenix with no limbs, there's no reason you should ever stay there for more than like maybe a layover. 60 minutes. Anyway, that's the end of the video, guys. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. We do this every week. I'll try to come up with something new next week, or if you guys like it, I'll just continue with this. Because honestly, there's no shortage of dumbass quotes by politicians. And the list is just ever growing and ever building, as you know, because we have Donald J. Jameson Trump in office, who says no less than like 13 dumb things a week. In fact, that would be a good video idea. Donald Trump's dumbest Twitter tweets. We could do that. Let me know. Until next time, it's been your boy. I don't know what the fuck that was. Who could we do next? There are so many. This is like hard to read. Oh, Sarah Palin. Oh god.